Hell's Kitchen Battle of the States Episode 5 Review. Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. After watching tonight's episode, on a scale of 1 to 10, I will give it a solid 6. This episode had its ups and downs, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Over the course of the video, I will discuss the important happenings from the episode, and I will talk about my predictions for the final 10 chefs. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. The first important happening for this episode would have to be the cliffhanger ending with Bradley from the previous episode. This episode opens up with Gordon telling Bradley that his communication skills were questionable during the dinner service and that he won't be in the competition long if he doesn't communicate. I initially thought that there was a strong chance that Bradley would get eliminated during last week's episode, but I felt that Gordon was essentially putting Bradley on notice and let Bradley know that there will be consequences if he continues to shut down during the future dinner services, which I think is more than fair considering how bad Bradley's dinner services have been this season. The second important happening from this episode will be the red team attempting to address their issues. When the red team returns back to the dorm, they attempt to address their internal issues, and by address their issues, most of the red team wanted to air out all the grievances that they had with Alexandra. The problem with this approach was that Anaya was the spokesperson for the red team, and a wise person once said that it's not what you say, it's how you say it. From my vantage point, Anaya was very confrontational with Alexandra when discussing these issues. This style then caused Alexandra to become defensive and walk away, which made the whole discussion pretty pointless. So from this scene, I somewhat felt sorry for Alexandra, because I do believe that she would have been receptive to the team's concerns if they had used a little bit more subtlety and finesse with their approach. The third important happening from this episode would be the challenge. For the challenge, the teams went head-to-head in cooking dishes that combine popular state proteins with popular state ingredients. So for this challenge, here are the chefs that went head-to-head. Sydney and John had to cook a dish with soft shell crab and Mexican chilies. Anaya and Antonio had to cook a dish with king salmon and potatoes. Alexandra and Henry had to cook a dish with bison and cheddar. Cara Marie and Anthony had to cook a dish with lobster and apples. Lisa and Chris had to cook a dish with quail and mushrooms. Jada and Bradley had to cook a dish with mahi-mahi and peaches. And Ellie and Jaden had to cook a dish with lamb and almonds. So right off the bat, I'll say that the red team won this challenge. But if we're being honest, then the blue team had more talented chefs. They just allowed some careless mistakes to tank their chances of winning the challenge. Just as time was about to expire for the challenge, Jaden rushed to get his plate to the very front. And in doing so, he bumped into somebody and the plate dropped. It didn't help that Jaden's lamb was undercooked, but had Jaden used better time management skills, he likely would have won that round against Ellie. Chris also made a careless mistake in not utilizing his mushrooms properly. So I feel that going forward, the blue team will learn from these mistakes and win the next challenge. But next, we gotta talk about this episode's dinner service. And if there were ever a case for the fix being in for a particular chef, it would be from this dinner service. During this service, the blue team had their fair share of mistakes. Anthony seemingly shut down during the early parts of the service, and that had a negative impact on his team's cook times. And Bradley meant well when following Gordon's advice by using his voice during dinner service, but with all the mistakes that Bradley made, it was pretty clear that he had no business being on Hell's Kitchen in the first place. All in all, the blue team finished dinner service without being kicked out of the kitchen, and in my opinion, the blue team has a group of very talented chefs. Unfortunately, the team is short on a great leader that can cut through the BS and get the best out of their team. During the service, the red team did slightly better than the blue team. Alexandra had a huge off night during this dinner service. For starters, she burned a pot of polenta that she had to cook for the blue team and red team, and she gave the burnt pot of polenta to the blue team, knowing that she had burnt it. Alexandra also burnt the flatbread, and she messed up her risotto. Cara Marie also served Gordon fish that wasn't properly cooked, but outside of those issues, the team didn't have that many mistakes. But I say that the fix was in for this episode because Gordon gave the red team the win for this dinner service. However, it seemed like the red team made as many mistakes as the blue team did. Furthermore, with Alexandra making nearly all of the mistakes for the team, an argument could be made that neither team won tonight's dinner service, and Alexandra could have been nominated for elimination due to her performance and because the teammates don't really like her. So I believe that Alexandra will continue to be around for the long haul during the season. Because the blue team lost, they had to nominate 2 chefs for elimination. The blue team nominated Bradley and Anthony based on their performance during dinner service, but Gordon also asked Jaden to join them. When it was all said and done, Bradley finally got eliminated. In my opinion, this elimination was long overdue. I had a feeling that Bradley was getting the axe at the end of this episode, when Henry had to essentially babysit Bradley during his dinner service. And even with that, Bradley continued to get things wrong. With Bradley finally gone, I think that the blue team will be one step closer to finding their way to having an ideal dinner service. Now, when it comes to the final 10 chefs for this season, my list hasn't changed from last week. I think that Anthony and Jaden will bounce back from their slump during this episode, but I would definitely need to see more from Antonio and Ellie before I consider them to be part of this list. But these are my thoughts on tonight's episode, and I'd like to know what you all think. Did you like or dislike tonight's episode? Feel free to leave all comments below in the comment section, and I'll be sure to reply to everybody. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.